Bow, baby, we back. Bow, baby. We back. So boom, I'm back. I be saying I'm back. I posted like not posted, but I've recorded a lot of I'm back videos. But now I'm back. How to get consistent, how to do some schoolwork. When it comes to school, life, everything that goes on around life outside of this crib can go on pause. Because when it comes to the goddamn books, I'm on it. So anyways, we back on, baby. And it seems like I'm telling y'all, this propaganda warfare against the AES is getting more and more crazier day by the day. Literally, all right, look at this. The EU is talking about by April 2nd, they want Bazoum, the former president of Nigeria, Bazoum, they want him back in power by the 2nd of April, which is tomorrow. And I'm like, what? I go, cap. I got the book called you see that? You see this right here, but I've been reading. The page I'm on right now is page 23. You dig? All I'm gonna say is, if you really want to know what transpired with the diaspora and like how the diaspora has helped us, how y'all did shit for us, read this. This is a good start. This is an amazing start. Boy, what? I read this book, man. Black history is the greatest. We damn near God. Like, Caribbeans, enslaved, the black man. Bow, freedom all. Like, bro, what? Anyways, though, but yeah, we back on. So, yeah, it seems like the EU is going nuts, straight badunkers. It seems like after the U.S. revealed that they're their bitch now, they're like, nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So, essentially, they're like, okay, well, I got to build my uranium back up. Remember, the French President Macron said he got to build his uranium back up. I'll probably insert the video right here.
J'ai ordonné d'augmenter le nombre de têtes nucléaires de notre arsenal. Pour couper court à toute spéculation, nous ne communiquerons plus sur les chiffres de notre arsenal nucléaire, contrairement à ce qui avait pu être le cas par le passé. Tous ceux qui auraient l'audace de vouloir s'en prendre à la France savent le prix insoutenable qu'il y aurait pour eux à payer.
But where is he going to get the uranium to build more nuclear weapons? And now we come to find out Germany's also buying fuel from France, uranium. And if Germany's buying uranium from France and France is getting its uranium from Nigeria, come on, baby. Them joints, they really clicking up. Now they're like, well, we about to die. You dig what I'm saying? So with that being said, I mean, we see where it's going. So essentially, this EU, they're making a whole goddamn parliament talk about Africa, but they not African. They not in Africa. What did Africa got to do with them? Why are you so dependent? Like, you like a naggy bra. Like, get the fuck away. Like,
Who is that show? Hey, madam, calm down now. What are you doing here?
I don't understand. So because you have a girl in the house, you don't want me to come inside?
Which one? Because there's a girl inside. What are you doing here now? Who opened the gate for you?
like, take the car, get away. And y'all had the car for the past 100+ years, and y'all see what they did. Like, they talking about, well, let's renegotiate the deal. No, ain't no renegotiating. If it ain't 60-40, we not talking. There's no more 50-50. What you did for 100 years was not 50-50. That was 0-100. You dig what I'm saying? So that's how I feel. I'm telling y'all, like, hey, reciprocal treatment. 400 years of starvation. You dig what I'm saying? But let's get back to it though. So it seems like the EU is going crazy, and my guy Nefakari dropped a video, and we're gonna get right to it. But yeah, I'm telling y'all, when y'all see a headline like the Burkina Faso signed up the US, just click copy it, go into Google and see what comes up. If one article comes up, that's not going to be enough. Read the article. What did it say? You have to read at least 3 articles, and they should have something that's consistent across each article. So yeah, they're all going to be different, but they're going to have something that's consistent, the same across each article. Look for that, and then compare, contrast, and form your conclusion from there. But essentially, that's what I want you guys to do, because this propaganda, I'm like, how have y'all bamboozled? EU is becoming good with Mali, but the EU is still trying to tell Niger what the fuck to do. And then come to find out, Niger just kicked out the British oil company. Like, bro, what? Come on. Then you got people like goddamn Nigeria just being disgrace to the continent. Ghana disgrace. Kenya disgrace. South Africa needs to go and take over their cities that's being ran by those little hats. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, we're gonna get right to it. Let's get to it. Enough talking.
Tomorrow we will vote on an urgent resolution that is particularly close to my heart, the demand for the release of Nigerian President Mohamed Bazoum, which I am presenting for the 4th time. Since the coup d'etat of July 26, 2023, Mohamed Bazoum and his wife have been detained by the military junta that seized power. We cannot remain silent any longer while a key European ally is imprisoned. What example of loyalty would the European Union set for its partners?
Yeah, we back. Quick video. Now, in recent weeks, 2 interesting things have happened. There were resolutions being voted on, one in the United Nations and the other in the European Parliament. Now, when it came to the United Nations, the fundamental question that was being voted on was the crimes of slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, was that the greatest crime against humanity? Not only taking into account the violence and the torture that occurred in the European colonies, but also the societal effects that came afterwards as well. The prejudice, the dehumanization, the literature to justify the prejudice, etc. Was that the greatest crime against humanity? And 123 countries voted yes. The resolution passed. The only nations that voted against it was the United States, Israel, and Argentina. And then you had the European Union countries, the NATO allied countries, abstained from the vote altogether, did not vote in favor. Now, around that same time, you had another vote taking place in the European Parliament. As you can see, take a look up on the screen. The European Parliament urges Niger to free the detained ex-president, the overthrown president. Now, of course, that's interesting because all 27 European Union member states abstained from the vote at the UN General Assembly. They did not vote in favor. But all of them, damn near 95%, the vast majority, I believe it was like 524 votes in favor, they voted yes at the European Parliament that President Mohamed Bazoum, the grand puppet, should be restored to the position of authority. Now, of course, Niger rejected this altogether. Take a look up on the screen. Niger rejects the European Union's call to free the ousted president, Mohamed Bazoum. Niger's foreign ministry summoned the European envoy to protest interference in the nation's internal affairs. Within hours after the European Parliament.
Okay, is it just me? But when I see, the other color spectrum, you dig what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, is this a spy? Because we know that during the first summit for the unity with the Kruba, Ghana, all the other parts, all those other countries, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, we do know during this meeting and conference that it was taking place where they're trying to figure out what's the future going forward with their continent. And Nkrumah and his party was like, yo, we trying to unite, you dig? Patrice Lumumba was about to, let's unite. We had a lot of Pan-Africans taking over, right? And then we come to find out that everyone that was in that room that was, you dig, Shabam right here, they was a spy. They was CIA. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like when I see this now, it's like, what? But let's search up search up 1960 African Conference, African Unity Conference. Just search that up and do your research from there. But yeah, so anyways, that's why I'm like, the other side, I don't know how to feel about that. But let's get to it.
adopted a resolution demanding the immediate and unconditional release of Niger's ousted French-backed former president Mohamed Bazoum. The Nigerian government reiterated that it will not accept any directive from Europe. Now, in today's video, I want to react to the statement, the collective statement of the AES in regards to the resolution at the UN that now recognizes the transatlantic slave trade and the crimes committed during and afterwards as the greatest crime against humanity. The AES put out a declaration in response to that, and I think it's kind of connected to the vote at the European Parliament as well, you know, low key. So I'm gonna react to that, and let's get into that declaration. As you can see, take a look up on the screen, coming directly from the Foreign Ministry. The statement at the United Nations on behalf of the Confederation of the Sahel States, the AES, on Wednesday, March 25th, 2026 in New York City. Let's get into this one. To Your Excellency, Madam President of the General Assembly, I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the member countries of the AES, namely Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Speaking on this day commemorating the abolition of slavery and the transatlantic slave trade, the member countries of the AES pay respectful tribute to the memory of all the innocent people who unjustly suffered these heinous acts. It is deeply regrettable that so-called civilized societies deemed it normal at a certain point in their history to systematically reduce other human beings to the status of objects, to torture them.
I'm so happy somebody pointed it out. How the fuck is you civilized and you actually subjecting other people? What the fuck? I thought you was civilized. I thought your demographic was advanced. It's like, come on, bro.
To sell them, to strip them of all dignity, and to deny them of their humanity. This ceremony must not be limited to the sole duty of honoring the memory of more than 10 million Africans deported and enslaved in inhumane and degrading conditions. It must also be an opportunity to establish responsibility for the harm done to Africa and to all humanity, and to mark a firm and collective commitment to acting for justice so that atrocities are never repeated. Madam President, on this subject, some nations prefer silence and to suppress the truth of these horrendous events. At the same time, a number of measures are being deployed to recall and commemorate other human tragedies, sometimes of lesser magnitude. The AES believes, on the contrary, that the truth must be revealed, that reparations must be made. The current context lends itself to this, as
See that? I like that right there. Oh, y'all want to be absent? Y'all want to play absent? Madagascar is out because Madagascar, what comes to find out is their president is putting their entire government on a lie detector test to make sure these guys are not going to backdoor him. They're not working with the other side. They're not some hoes. You dig what I'm saying? I'm with it because that's the fact. We can search it up. I'm going to bring it up later. But that's a fact. That's the crazy part. I'm like, bro, like everybody else, all the EU member states, absent. U.S. was like, I got time for you, little boy. I like that. But I feel like any person with a brain should understand you're never getting reparations. Malcolm told y'all, like, y'all took that MLK Kool-Aid. And to this day, I don't fuck with MLK. Because I'm like, bro, as if slavery was not enough, you went to get your ass beat again. Like, voluntarily. The first time was involuntary. The next time is voluntarily. You voluntarily got your ass beat to get a fucking law written. And then come to find out, as of today, as I speak, for April 1st, 2026, right? They're talking about readjusting the law, the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship. Readjusted. And this is how it always starts. The same thing with school. Oh, we're going to readjust the educational. Now they're actually deleting shit from history. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, as we seen all this play out, I'm telling y'all, this shit is going to get drastic and nasty. Gaza was the testing ground. It was the testing ground of a modern day Geno. Can I commit a modern day Geno and survive? And that was the testing ground. The next part is Cuba. The other part was Venezuela. Those are all their testing grounds. Now they want to enact this in their own home turf, and they want to do a inventory check. You dig what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah. So when I say this is crazy, this shit is crazy. Like, hey man, but any person with a brain should understood that the black reparations, they have to know what they did was a crime. But come to find out, when they burnt down Tulsa, who got arrested? When they burnt down, when they bombed Philadelphia in 1990, was it 1994? Between 1994 and 1998, I knew Philly got bombed. In that time period, they got bombed. How the fuck you bomb your own city? Racist. It was expensive. No kizzy. But anyways, yeah. So they bombed their own city. Nobody get arrested. The media don't cover it. If that's the case and no one got arrested, do you really think come on, man? You gotta be living. You gotta be drinking that Kool-Aid and snorting that cocaine. You dig what I'm saying?
Certain nations continue to consider Africa as their private property, to the point that their parliamentarians, like the slave traders of yesterday who decided the fate of millions of Africans, they now assume the right to control the internal affairs of Niger. Now, you see, like I said, I knew it was connected to the vote at the European Parliament. So now they're indirectly calling out the nations who either voted no or to abstain, and now calling out the hypocrisy and contradiction of them assuming that they have a right to open their filthy mouth on the internal affairs of our sovereign nations, right? So I knew it was connected, man. I knew it was connected. As we can see, diplomatic warfare engaged in full effect in broad daylight. You have one side that's parasitic, using Machiavellian tactics to plot and scheme and undermine and sabotage, and you have another side that's defending their sovereignty and defending the prosperity of their.
I ain't gonna hold. The Machiavelli tactics, no lie. Because at first I'm like, okay, like, these Romans, like, what the fuck was they doing in the motherland? Like, we ain't got no issue with you Romans. Like, fuck y'all want. Man, that Carthage, my brother came in the Second Punic War, said, what's up? Y'all was trying to try some. What's up? Them boys said, third time they want a back door. I said, wow. He should have ended the first time. This reminds me of the 25th dynasty. I forgot the pharaoh's name, but just search up 25th dynasty. Assyria, whatever it's called. Azrain. Assyrians. ASSRISY. Assyrians, however you spell that, but Egyptians, Assyrians, 25th dynasty, huge battle. The pharaoh at the time showed mercy. I said, what? He showed mercy, come back after his hair takes the throne, boom, they go back to attacking. I'm like, bro, why'd you show them mercy? What? The head should have been on the flow. Like what the shorty did in Nubia, the queen did in Nubia, to what's that Roman emperor name? Constantine. Like what they did to Constantine is what Egypt should have done to them. Like what? But anyways, she did what needed to be done. Huh. Nothing to play with. But y'all can search that up. Just search up Nubian queen versus Constantine. Nubian queen beheads Constantine. Search that up. That's all you need to see the picture. Let's get back to it.
People. So clearly we can see who is defending a righteous cause and who is simply trying to engage in criminal activity as per usual. Now let's continue. The AES condemns this pseudo-humanist and neo-colonialist stance, which responds more to a logic of a mercantilist and an imperialist exploitation of the continent. Indeed, do not the slavery and the transatlantic slave trade of yesterday and the terrorism taking place today in the Sahel share a common thread? On one hand, the enrichment of the economies of colonial and imperialist powers, and on the other, the impoverishment and disintegration of Africa. Man, them boys dropping fire. Time out, man. Them boys, man, listen. Man, them boys committed an arson out here, man. Them boys dropping fire. That was a crazy, man, listen, shout out to my boys, man. Like I said, the AES, you notice how the AES is not attacking other blacks like these other guys on the internet attacking other blacks. You notice that the AES got their target laser focused on the true adversary, the true opponent. And you see these other cowards on social media grabbing their microphones, scared to even open their mouth, even against the United States government that voted no and said that the crimes of slavery was illegal during that time. A lot of these cowards on social media won't even open their filthy mouth to even defend the memory of the fallen people who was killed under the sword. A bunch of cowards that deserve no respect. But see, my boys, they're not taking shots at other black people, attacking other black people. They got their mind focused direct on who it's supposed to be focused on, unlike these other, cowardly two-legged specimen organisms that don't even deserve respect.
No lie, that was nasty. These cowardly two-legged organisms that don't deserve no respect. God damn. Yo, that jaw was nasty. That jaw was right. That jaw was something. Let's get back to it.
Anyway, let's continue. If yesterday, these nations built their economies by draining the African continent of its able-bodied workforce, today, it is Africa's natural resources that are being plundered using a strategy of terror and endless conflict via terrorist mercenaries and other criminal armed groups, financed and manipulated. Madam President, faced with the knee-jerk reactions of these slave-owning and imperialist states that refuse to adapt to the emancipation of the peoples of the Sahel and Africa, the Confederation of the Sahel States, the AES, remains committed to supporting any initiative aimed at restoring the dignity of black people.
Boy, they said fuck with me and find out. I said the Haitian Revolution is gonna be duplicated times 100. What? Boy, I can't wait for that to happen. Like if that happens, like I'm talking like man on ground, boy. Every decisive victory blow, I'm in this joint having a celebration. Every day is a celebration that we get a decisive blow. No lie. But let's keep going.
Including through reparations. It is for this reason that we wholeheartedly welcome and support the current initiative adopted, classifying slavery and the transatlantic slave trade as the most serious crime against humanity. We also thank Ghana for brilliantly representing the continent's voice on this crucial issue and express our deep gratitude to His Excellency John Mahama, the President of Ghana. Thank you. Now, before I get into my commentary, round of applause, man. Round of applause. Round of applause, man.
Oh, I should add this. To all those that's looking at Ghana like you portrayed the AES, bro, that old man is not a revolutionary, okay? That old man brain is already set in stone. It's like a stone. No. It's like a steel. No. It's like gold that's been melted and poured back in. It's stiffened, all right? It's purified, stiff. That dude ain't changing no more. You see what I'm saying? It's set in his way. It's set in his mold. Like, he's not gonna do nothing revolutionary. He's just gonna be middleman. You dig what I'm saying? He's on some pleasing sides right now. He ain't on no holding his coloncles by himself. No, what that Kevin Gates bar said. I thought that's mean we holding nuts. Some. I forgot the song name, but I think it's called Kevin Gates Brazil. Whatever it's called. It starts with a B. It starts with Brazil. It's on one of his albums. Just search up. Yeah. Anyways, but like, yeah, though, you look at Ghana like, bro, what is you doing? Calling for reparations, but then signing a pact with EU. Like, does that make sense in your head? Like, that's what I'm saying. These old guys really is incompetent. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I mean, incompetent. Let's keep going.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, before I get out of here, on this channel, I always mention a legendary book that their ancestors left behind that was published back in 1814. Take a look up on the screen, The Colonial System Unveiled. Now, this book was published and released by the Haitian government in 1814, the revolutionary government of His Majesty King Henry Christophe. It was written by his right-hand man by the name of Baron de Vasty, as you can see. Vasty served as the secretary to Christophe and a tutor to Christophe's son. Vasty also claimed to have fought in Toussaint Louverture's army and is said to have been the second cousin of the French novelist and playwright Alexandre Dumas. Vasty is best.
They killed Christophe's son, bro, and they killed Vasty, bro. What? You read this book, boy. You gotta take a break. This book deeper than watching the movie. This book more deeper and vivid than the movie. What? They killed his son. They gathered all of them up and falouche.
Known for his essays on the history and contemporary circumstances of Haiti. Now, The Colonial System Unveiled, a legendary book written by someone who was actually born in the European colonies, seen the system, seen the crimes up close in person, had direct communication and interaction with those who suffered under the brutality of the system, and also fought in the Revolutionary Wars against the French, British, and the Spanish, and was also a high-ranking member of the revolutionary governments in the years after independence. So this is a very legendary account from a historical figure that was able to give us direct accounts of what he's seen and how he felt during that time. So I think he's one of our best testimonies that we can use, especially related to this topic as well. So even though I already read this book on my channel way back, I'm gonna go on this video. We're gonna read some parts, some chapters, some passages in that book. I think that it's connected to the video, and I think that it's interesting. We're gonna see what the ancestor had to say. We're gonna see what the ancestor wrote down. Like I said, this book came out in 1814 from a very legendary ancestral figure. So let's get into it. I want to jump into the part of the book where Vasti was talking about the abolition of the slave trade, because back in early, 1813, 1814, the discussions were beginning to happen on an international level in regards to the subject of abolishing the slave trade, especially, the Haitian government rose to power, a lot of rebellions taking place across the colonies. So, the subject of actually abolishing the import of enslaved Africans was on the table in a lot of European discussions. So Vasti also addressed in that book, directly called out the French. He said this: one single power, one single nation, who would believe it? France insists on preserving this shameful trade for 5 more years. The French, who were lately Democrats, philanthropists, propagators of liberty and equality, ardent defenders of the rights of man, are today the fierce partisans of the slave trade, the enemies and persecutors of the human race. Oh madness, oh inconceivable infamy. That's why I say, you notice that the ancestors, they had their minds directly focused on the true adversary, the true opponent. They wasn't wasting their time trying to attack or discredit other blacks, right? Could you imagine if I opened this book and then the ancestor was going off on Africans? I would have been ashamed of the ancestor. I would have been like, man, after everything that other man put you through, you scared to address him. You talking about some Africans, bro? I would have threw this book in the garbage. But due to the fact that the ancestor, who was not scared of nobody and nothing, he called out the adversary directly. And he even called out the fact that the French were one of the main opponents of abolishing the slave trade. They were one of the main ones standing against it, calling for more time. Let's slave trade some more. We need at least 5 more years. I need more years, right? The French were begging for the slave trade to continue. We don't talk about that though. The Europeans who was begging for the slave trade to never stop. We never gonna stop. They don't want to talk about that though, right? That's why they abstained at the.
This book ought to be in every African school, like required read for every elementary. You started this book got to be read to you in elementary school. You got to read it yourself and write a paper on it. It's a mandatory you read it. This is a pass or fail subject. If you don't pass this, you fail the whole class. That's how serious this book should be, and a few other books.
United Nations General Assembly, because they know their history, bunch of scoundrels. And could you believe it was this same French that led the resolution at the European Parliament just recently calling for the reinstatement of President Mohamed Bazoum in Niger, right? The same France that was begging for the slave trade to never stop. Get out of here, man. Anyways, let's continue. I want to jump into another part of the book. And this is like the beginning of the book. Like this is how the ancestor came in the book. Like this is like track 1. Like if it was like an album, this is track 1. This is how we came on the track. Like, that song, like Birdman, the #1 stunner, when Birdman was like, me, I don't need no introduction in this. This is how the ancestor came on the book on the first introduction. He said this: Europeans who do not know this frightful system, who cannot even conceive of it, sensitive men, do not yet weep over the tableau, over the faint sketches of the horrors of the slave trade. Do not exhaust your sensibility. Hold back your sighs and your tears. You have seen and heard nothing yet. Hear now the account of the colonial regime, and form for yourselves, if you can, an idea of the monsters capable of putting such cruelties into practice. Colonists who still live, hear my voice. I'm about to rouse the ashes of the numerous victims you have hurled into the grave, and to borrow their voices in order to expose your crimes. I'm about to exhume those wretches who you buried alive. I'm about to interrogate the shades of my unfortunate compatriots whom you cast living into burning ovens, those you had impaled, roasted, and subjected to 1,000 other torments devised by hell. And making a record of these horrors, I do not hope to soften your hearts. We know all too well they are harder than bronze and steel. We know that your clay souls are inaccessible to remorse and to pity. We know your atrocious character, pitiless, implacable in your designs and your vengeance. We know you will never change. If I hope for nothing from you, I can at least make you tremble by exposing your crimes and co-signing your names to contemporary and future execration. Now, time out. That last bar was fire. Vasti was an excellent writer, by the way. Truly very dynamic. Right, you see, he obviously had the heart of a warrior because, he faced off with the French, British, and the Spanish, but he also had the mind of a very enlightened man, very intelligent, very articulate man. Our ancestors was really, warrior scholars for real, Anyway, that last bar was so fire because he said, if I hope for nothing from you, I can at least make you tremble by exposing your crimes and attaching your names to contemporary and future execration, right? He said, the least I can do is curse your name forever, right? Attach shame and infamy to your name and to your lineage and to your whole family forever, right? Listen, I told you, Vasti came on page 1, not playing no games, man. Not a single game. Anyway, I want to jump into another part of the book where Vasti talks about the native inhabitants of the lands who were exterminated by the Europeans. And then in the end, Vasti says, this is why I love my guns so much. This is why I love my weapons. I love my cannons, because these are what protected me from ending up like the natives, desecrated and exterminated, right? So let's jump into this book. And also Vasti tells us to love your guns as well. Love your weapons, love your military defense, because that's the only thing that's going to defend you against these criminal barbarians. So anyway, the ancestor said this in the book as well. Take a look up on the screen. 1,000 heartrending memories crowd upon my heart. A flood of reflections absorb my thoughts in rapid succession. There existed here before us men. They are no more. These are the deplorable remains. They have been annihilated. What had they done to deserve such a ruinous fate? Has there truly passed across this earth a race of exterminators? Were these unhappy beings without weapons? Could they not defend themselves? At this thought, I seize my weapons and give thanks to heaven for having placed in our hands the instruments of our deliverance and our preservation. Oh, precious weapons, without you, what would have become of my country, my compatriots, my parents, and my friends? From that moment, I regarded my weapons as the greatest of all possessions. Children of the mountains, inhabitants of the forest, cherish your weapons, those precious keys that safeguard your rights. Never abandon them. Transmit them to your children together with the love of liberty and independence and the hatred of the tyrants as the noblest inheritance you can bequeath them. Now, time about that was funny as hell. You saw the ancestor was talking to the weapons like it was a beautiful woman. Oh, precious weapons, without you. Big up to my ancestors, man. Anyway, I want to jump into a different part of the book where Vasti was also, talking about the unfortunate events that our forefathers and our foremothers had to walk through. He said this: degraded below the level of domestic animals, our precarious existence at the discretion of a barbarous master, half covered in miserable rags, devoured by hunger, bowed beneath the lash of a merciless overseer. We watered the earth with our sweat and our blood to satisfy the proud sensuality of the colonist and his avarice. The facts that I'm about to report are the greatest veracity. They are notorious. I have gathered them from families who are still alive, whose parents endured the tortures I shall attempt to describe, and from those unfortunates who survived the tortures. These witnesses are beyond refutation. They showed me and supported their testimonies, limbs mutilated by irons and scorched by fire. I hold these accounts from an infinite number of honorable and trustworthy people. Furthermore, I cite by name the colonists who are the authors of these crimes, and I challenge them to contradict me. Now, time out. Like I said, during this time when this book came out, it was a crazy scandal. It was a crazy expose, because a lot of these individuals that were named in this book, they were men of high status in society, right? Judges, government officials, politicians, military officers, naval captains, things like that. Men who are notorious in society. So when their names were published with all the crimes they were engaged in, like the Epstein files, right? This was like the Epstein files before the Epstein files, because it was naming all these high-ranking officials and men that were known in society, and they were talking about what they did. This guy, he killed a child.
This is what I'm saying. Like, how can I beef with other black folks when there's shit like this? How can I beef with the Mexicans when there's shit like this? You see this? Man, I read this. My eyes was like, all this FBA flex bank account people. What the hell? Like, man, y'all crazy. Y'all eyes is not focused. Talking about they're taking reparations. That makes no sense. Because that means Japan took reparations, because Japan was World War II. That's years later. After World War II, we got the Holocaust. They got reparations too. And they come to find they ain't stop paying the former European slave traders. Yes, the slave traders, the slave bearers. The slave traders and slave bearers, they ain't stop paying until 2015 with their taxpayer money. So I don't want no reparations, because it's like I can't live with that. Like, that's not gonna do nothing. Like, reparations to me is like, you can't buy my anger. Like, no, you can't. Man, I saw some coon talking about folks that's in the war, that's rejecting the war. Man, why are you rejecting the war? You should. I'm like, bro. As a black man, you go to war for a country that killed your ancestors, did rape them, did some very foul sexual things to them, killed them, man, killed your forefathers, grandparents. They killed and burnt them. They ate them. They sold their body parts. Like, you really, like, I just don't understand the logic behind that. Like, and those parents that tells their kids that, I'll be like, yo, are you like, up here is not right. You have been reading enough books, like, And you dig what I'm saying? Like, yo, I tell people this: college is not to make you a millionaire. College is just to give you higher knowledge. Like, for example, I like tech. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just to get more and more knowledge with computers and how it works. It's not it's gonna make me a millionaire. You guys want to work at a job for life, and I'm like, why do you want to work for someone for the rest of your life and not be in charge of it? It makes no sense. Man, my pops, luckily I seen him start the business from scratch and run it up. I'm like, yo, I could never in my life just work for someone for the rest of my life. Like, as soon as I start working, I got to figure out how to do this shit myself. Like, let's get back to it.
Child, he dismembered a victim. This dude buried people alive. This dude was touching on children. This dude drowned a woman in the river. This guy threw a child in the oven. Like, it was crazy, right? This was the Epstein files before the Epstein files, for real, right? The files of Saint Domingue, right? Anyway, let's continue. This is no novel that I am writing. It is the account of the misfortunes, the long sufferings, and the unheard of torments endured by an unfortunate people for centuries. My blood runs cold in my veins. My heart is stricken. I lack the faculties and the expressions to approach the task that I have set myself. What pen would be needed to describe crimes until now that were unknown among humankind? What expression could I employ to depict so many horrors? I know of none. I shall simply relate. Man, that's crazy, man. Even Vasti, as articulate, as sharp and intelligent as he is, he even said, how could you even describe these crimes that were unknown among humankind? Could you imagine a criminal like
this? Shit is crazy. They did shit unknown to humankind. That's what I'll say. How the fuck can you join the military? Like, you gotta be on cocaine. You gotta be snorting some real bullshit. It's not real cocaine. That's synthetic shit right there. That's shrooms crushed with the cocaine, and that's synthetic cocaine and synthetic shrooms. Yeah, man, shit crazy.
Activity. Vasti said that crimes were taking place that never took place before. My man said, how could you even describe such crimes that are not even known among humankind? Man, barbarians. And man, let's continue, man. I want to jump in this part of the book as well. Vasti talking directly to the adversary. He said this: only the most insignificant colonists, the abominable traffickers of human flesh and their supporters will not applaud this magnificent resolution. They will be outraged by it. That is our greatest request. That is our request. May they perish in their impotent rage. That is our most ardent wish. It is against them that we direct these writings. It is also for them and their adherents that we sharpen these bayonets that will pierce their sides. Now, you heard what Vasti said. He said, listen, it is targeted towards the adversary, towards the ex-colonists that we direct these writings, right? And it is for them that we are sharpening the bayonets. Man, listen, shout out to my forefathers, man. Anyways, like I said, man, I just wanted to, talk about that. The AES, calling out the hypocrisy of the same individuals who engage.
It's like the AES chat of the inner Vasti, bro. Getting this book, boy, the price is not nothing. I think it was like $40. I spent $40 on this, like 44, 40. Get this book. I just bought a half a Zod. I was 90. If I can spend a half a Zod, 90 on some Zod, that's gonna go out like this. This book is like forever. Boy, what? But now though, like, shit crazy. Like, the AES is like, hey, if you're not giving weapons, get away. Because what I'm about to do to these, there you go. Let's get back to
it. In these crimes, that Vasti said that crimes that were not even known among humankind, to now turn around and try to call for international law and the return of democracy and the reinstatement of Mohammed Bazoum. Man, the shamefulness of the adversary, it knows no bounds, So I just wanted to talk about that real quick and just highlight that the AES is, instead of wasting their time attacking other blacks, they're not getting distracted by the machinations of the enemy, getting distracted by who they're supposed to actually be, focused on. So as always, man, shout out to my brothers for standing in the gap, standing in the front, as they always do. And like I said, it shows the difference between who is actually, staying focused on who they're supposed to be focused on and who's getting distracted and spreading disinformation, misinformation, and misdirection, right? So we separating the real from the fake, the counterfeit from the authentic. Anyways, man, it's your boy Neferkari Salim back in the building. Yes, indeed. You already know, man. Brand new album, Black Winter. Pin comment at the top. Brand new music video, 2 a.m. in Venezuela. Check it out, man. And I'm gone. Peace.
Oh, shit. My camera died. So he sent essentially my camera died. So, but hey, y'all, stay dangerous. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. We back in this joint. You dig? Wow.